Hey everyone, and welcome back. You know how sometimes you grab something that seems healthy, but then you're like, wait, was that actually a good choice? We're tackling those sneaky foods to avoid for weight loss today, diving into two totally different sources. One's like a friendly chat, someone who's been there, and the other's got more of a sciencey vibe. Oh, and quick thing before we jump in. This is for info only, not a replacement for your doc's advice, okay?
Always good to have those disclaimers.
Right. Okay, so first up is this blog post, super relatable. This woman lost 45 pounds, and she gets real about what she stopped eating to get results. Like, you won't believe this. Flavored coffee creamers. She loved them, thought they were harmless. Turns out she was basically downing sugar bombs every morning.
Yeah, it's easy to forget how much sugar sneaks into stuff.
Oh,
We always blame soda, but those creamers, they're sneaky.
totally. And get this. She tried artificial sweeteners thinking that was better, but then, more issues. Cravings, gut stuff. It's like a never-ending cycle. But it gets funnier. She talks about this fiber bar fiasco, you know, those bars everyone thinks are healthy.
Oh yeah, the health halo strikes again. Packaging can be deceiving.
For real. She's munching on them all day thinking she's being virtuous. Let's just say her digestion did not get the memo, especially during a big meeting. Yikes.
It's like they trade one problem for another.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what other healthy foods are lurking out there waiting to sabotage our efforts?
Right. Even fiber, in the wrong form, can backfire. Many of those bars are loaded with sugar alcohols to compensate for the lack of sugar, and those can lead to bloating and discomfort, especially if you overdo it.
Makes you think twice, right?
Okay, so ditching the sugary creamers check. Being wary of fiber bar overload double check. What other food traps did our friend uncover on her weight loss journey? You won't believe this one. Frozen yogurt. Frozen yogurt, it feels like a healthy dessert, right?
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Right. Our blogger friend, she realized it had become a nightly thing, and even though it's lower in fat than ice cream, it's still got a ton of sugar. Plus, it was making her crave more sweets later.
That health halo strikes again. We see those buzzwords, and we're sold. Always got to check that nutrition label.
Preach. Okay, so our first source definitely gave us a lot to think about, and a few laughs, too. Let's switch gears now. Our second source, this one's got a more scientific take on weight loss.
This one lays out 15 things to stop doing if you're trying to lose weight. It's all about making changes that last, not just quick fixes.
Love that. Sustainable changes all the way. What's the starting point?
Well, they say we need to shift our focus. Less about the number on the scale and more about the big picture.
Okay, so less scale watching, more.
More like realizing the scale can mess with your head. Our weight naturally goes up and down, you know. Water retention, hormones, even what you ate the day before can throw it off. Getting obsessed with that number can be so discouraging.
Makes sense. So if the scale isn't everything, what should we be paying attention to?
They suggest tracking measurements, noticing how your clothes fit, maybe even taking progress photos. It gives you a much more complete picture. Plus, it's about celebrating those non-scale victories. More energy, sleeping better, feeling good in your clothes. Those matter too.
Yes. Love those wins. Okay, so curious about this. What's this source say about calorie counting? It feels like everyone's got an opinion on that.
Right. It's a big debate.
Yeah.
This source doesn't say you have to meticulously track every single calorie, but they do stress being aware of your intake versus how much you're burning.
So no need to go full on food journal, but we should have a general idea of the balance.
Exactly. It's about making mindful choices, being aware of portion sizes, picking foods that keep you full and satisfied, and of course, moving your body.
Finding that balance. Got it. Speaking of balance, this source talks about carbs. Are they good or bad for weight loss? What's the verdict?
They tackle that debate head on. Carbs have gotten such a bad rap. It's not about cutting them out entirely, it's about knowing the difference. Refined carbs versus complex carbs.
Okay, remind us about those two categories again.
So think of refined carbs. White bread, white rice, sugary cereals, those are like quick-burning fuel. They digest quickly, and then, bam, sugars spike and crash. Complex carbs, on the other hand, those are like slow-burning logs. Quinoa, brown rice, lentils, sweet potatoes, they give you longer-lasting energy.
So it's not about banning bread from our lives. It's about choosing those whole grain versions that keep us full and energized.
Exactly. Smart swaps, my friend. And this goes back to our friend's experience with the fiber bars. Even though they technically had fiber, the type of fiber and all the added sugars meant they weren't the miracle food she thought.
Such a good point. Got to look beyond those flashy health claims and really see what's in our food.
Absolutely. And speaking of the bigger picture, this source brings up something that often gets overlooked in weight loss: Sleep.
Sleep. I know it's important overall, but I never really connected it to weight.
There's a huge link. When you're sleep deprived, your metabolism actually slows down, and your hunger hormones go haywire.
So basically, we crave junk food more when we're tired.
You got it. And when you're exhausted, you just don't have the willpower to resist. This source really emphasizes aiming for that 7-9 hours of quality sleep every night. It's part of a holistic approach.
Okay, prioritize sleep. Check. This is fascinating. It's amazing how these small things like swapping out carbs or getting enough rest can make such a big difference.
It's the little things done consistently that really add up. But we have to remember, everyone's different. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay.
So true. No one size fits all. It's about finding what works for you. Speaking of which, one of our sources mentioned intermittent fasting. Everyone's talking about it these days. What are your thoughts? So, is intermittent fasting the magic solution everyone's looking for, or is it just another fad diet?
It's a good question. And honesty, we need to be realistic about it. It works for some, but it's not for everyone.
Not a magic bullet, then.
Right. Like anything, it has pros and cons. Talking to your doctor is key, especially if you have any health conditions. It could be tricky for some people.
So it's not eat whatever you want for a few hours and you're good.
Definitely not. It's still about the quality of food you're eating. Intermittent fasting works best with a good, balanced diet. Whole foods, you know the drill.
Makes total sense. So what's the final word on it? Should our listeners give it a shot?
If they're curious, sure, explore it. But I always say focus on those lifestyle changes, the things you can stick with. Don't get caught up in the hype. Build a good relationship with food, listen to your body, and find what works for you.
Love that. It's about what works for you. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on foods to avoid for weight loss, what's the one thing you want listeners to remember?
We've covered a lot, specific foods, habits, but honestly, knowledge is everything. The more you know about food labels, portions, how different foods affect you, the better choices you'll make.
It's like becoming a food detective.
Exactly. You're in charge.
Love it. Okay, deep divers, that's a wrap for today. Keep those BS detectors up, experiment, and find what makes you feel amazing. Don't forget to check out the show notes for links to both sources we talked about today. And hey, that blogger we mentioned, she's got a free 3-day detox meal plan you can grab.